Hey guys, I want to talk to you guys about something really serious. Uh, I'm sitting here, I was getting ready to go for a ride, but I'm going to keep this video short because I'm long-winded and people don't watch the long videos, and I definitely want this one to be seen. Right now in Tennessee, there's a man named Gary Wayne Sutton who's scheduled to be executed this coming December. As people who watch my channel know, I'm a convicted felon. I've been in a maximum security prison, but the difference is I earned every day I did. I should have done more time than I did. I truly believe with all of my heart that Gary Wayne Sutton is innocent. I've never met him. I don't know him. I have no skin in the game. But ever since I've heard about his case, it has haunted me. Lawmakers in Tennessee have gone to Governor Lee of Tennessee asking that he take a re-examination of the case, and he's refused to do it. The reason I think he has refused to do it is because Gary's family member has already been executed. And to say that he was innocent, the state of Tennessee would have to admit to making a mistake and killing an innocent man. And for those of you who think that in America, innocent people are not executed, go to Google and look up Governor Ryan commutes death row inmates to life without the possibility of parole in the state of Illinois. On his way out the door, Governor Ryan, in the state where I did all of my time, commuted all death row inmates to life without the possibility of parole because there were 11 men, 11, sitting on death row waiting to be executed, and DNA proved that those 11 men were innocent. That's at one time in one state. And Governor Ryan said in good conscience, he didn't know how many other men were innocent on death row. So he gave them all, the ones that were found innocent were released. And the other ones he gave life without the possibility because he said he didn't know how many more men were innocent. It happens in America more than you might think. I've had a family member murdered. And I know what it feels like to have somebody in your family killed. I've had friends killed. You want justice. But I truly, like I said, I have no skin in the game with this case. Now, anybody that's ever done any hunting, okay, this is just a couple little things about this case. Number one, a judge is only supposed to oversee jury selection. This judge actually chose the jury members. There was a man that cut a woman's throat who had a beef with one of the murder victims. Now, if you're capable of cutting a woman's throat, you are more than capable of pulling the trigger on a shotgun and shooting somebody. Now, when pictures were taken at the crime scene of the bodies, there were no shotgun shells. Later on, the police actually drew a picture of where the bodies were and where the shotgun shells were. That was their evidence for the shotgun shells. And the shotgun shells were lined up perfectly evenly spaced in a perfect line. Now, I used to pheasant, dove, and quail hunt. And you tell me when you've been dove hunting, duck hunting, whatever, whenever you've shot a 12-gauge pump shotgun and you're pumping them shells out of that shotgun, what do you think the odds are that those shells are going to land perfectly spaced in a straight line? You got a better chance of winning the lottery when those shells come flying out of the side of that shotgun, they go chaotic. It's wherever. It's not going to happen that they're going to line up like that. But that don't even matter. You can't draw a picture of where the bodies were and where the shotgun shells were and consider that evidence when the previous picture had no shells in it of the bodies. You can't, anybody could draw a picture and call it evidence. There was witness tampering. Witnesses were intimidated. This is a small, small town. And Gary and his family member that's already been executed, they were poor. And ever since I've heard about this case, it has just dug at me. And I can't get it out of my mind. I wrote that Nick Shirley on Instagram tonight. I said, I know you're busy, but he's got a platform where, you know, maybe he could bring some attention to it so Governor Lee will get up off his ass. There's so many things about this case. I'm going to get a hold of Miss Judy and Harvey Talks Prison, and I'm going to get all the information for the TikTok and the different sites that his family and loved ones are trying to get Governor Lee to look at. Governor Lee gave Jelly Roll a pardon, but I would argue he did that because Jelly Roll is a big name and it's going to bring him publicity and people are going to like him because he gave him a pardon. And Jelly Roll's life was not on the line. As a matter of fact, I ought to write Jelly Roll too, because he seems like the type of human being that actually cares about other human beings. But I'm going to get all that information. I'm going to post it on my YouTube community page. And if all of you could please, if I ever asked you for anything, this is what I'm asking you for. More than prayers for me, more than anything, please write Governor Lee and ask him to look at Gary Wayne Sutton's case. Because I believe with all my heart that there's an innocent man going to be put to death this December. The man's had one write-up the whole time he's been in prison. He sat on death row for over 30 years. When I did my time in prison, I met a lot of killers. And this man is not a killer. I'm not going to speak for Harvey Talks Prison and what he feels about it, because it's not right to speak for another man. But if you go look at some of Harvey's videos, I bet you he's done some about Gary Wayne Sutton too. And then he can speak for himself in that matter. But I was sitting here tonight, my son's bachelor party's tonight. I didn't get an invite. Kind of hurts. But I'm the father, so I'm going to just man up and take the pain and go to the wedding with a smile and not ruin my son and his wife's beautiful day. I don't even drink. I could have been the designated driver, you know, but that's besides the point. I'm going to put that information up on my community page. Give me a couple days to get it all together. And I'll even put how you can write Governor Lee up. And I've never asked nobody for nothing. But if you could, please share this with somebody you think might write Governor Lee. Because I can't get this guy out of my head. His case has haunted me ever since I've heard about it. And like I said, I got no skin in the game. I've never met Gary Wayne Sutton. He could be a guy walking down the street. I don't know him. So I have no emotional stake in the game. But I know in my heart of hearts that this man is innocent And they are going to kill an innocent man. And like I said, people think, well, this don't happen in America. Yeah, it does. And it happens a hell of a lot more than people think it does. That's one thing about prison was kind of like Shawshank Redemption. Because I can remember thinking, I'm the only motherfucker here guilty. Everybody's saying they were innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. But just Illinois, you had 11 men sitting on death row and DNA proved they were innocent at one time. 11 men. Think about that for a minute. And I'll tell you why. We have the best legal system in the world. There's no better legal system, but only if there's no corruption in it. And just like there's corruption in our government, there's corruption in our legal system. Prosecutors are judged by their conviction rate, and they should not be judged by their conviction rate because that gives them an incentive to get as many convictions as they can if they have political ambitions or whatever their legal ambitions are. Start a law firm, whatever. It gives them an incentive to railroad people. That's like in Illinois, I've seen black men get more time and convicted more. But most black men end up with the public defender. And if you're a corrupt prosecutor and you're going to railroad somebody, you're going to go for that poor guy with the public defender and not some rich guy that's got a powerful, high-paid lawyer. And they have a law, it's called prosecutorial misconduct. If a prosecutor falsely imprisons somebody, that they're supposed to fall under prosecutorial misconduct, but it is hardly ever enforced. We had a guy here in St. Louis did almost 40 years in prison, and he just got released. And the prosecutor that prosecuted his case didn't even give him an apology. Not even an apology, and it was all circumstantial. He said, she said. They didn't have no evidence. But if you could please do that one thing for me, I promise I'll get the information up to you in the next couple days on my community page. And, you know, if you're not an American citizen, it's probably not going to help much. But I would consider it a big favor because, like I said, I don't know Gary. He could be somebody walking down the street. That's how much he means to me. I don't even know the guy. But I don't think God would put it on my heart this heavy that I can't shake it. It's like I'm constantly thinking about this man. I'm that convinced that he's innocent. And just the things, I just told you a couple little things. There's a whole bunch more that was done wrong in this man's case. And I can't help but feel, every time I think about the case, I think of that song, The Night That the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence. I can't help but feel that that son of a bitch that cut that woman's throat is the one that did it. And some people in that county and that town had some pull, and Gary and his family member were scapegoats. They took the fall to protect that piece of shit. I believe that with all my heart. I would bet my life on it. If there was a way to prove it one way or another, I would put my own life on it. And it just bothers me. I mean, when I was in prison, I deserved every minute I was in there. I was guilty. But I try to picture being in prison and being innocent, and that's hell. But being on death row, waiting to be executed, and being innocent, that's a hell within a hell. And like I said, the reason I think that Governor Lee won't look at it It's because if he says Gary's innocent, that means that they already killed an innocent man. And I don't think that's enough reason to execute a man just because you don't want to admit that you made a fucking mistake. But I promise you in the next couple of days here, I'm going to get all that information up. You can look Gary Wayne Sutton up, state of Tennessee on Google. But there's a lot of people working trying to get this man to look at, he won't even look at it. You know, how hard-hearted do you got to be to refuse to even look at a case when it has a man's life is on the line? You got to be a pretty cold-hearted son of a bitch. What if it was your family member, Governor Lee? You know, and you'll find too, when you do some searches on the internet, you'll see a lot of people trying to get that case re-examined. And even state lawmakers went to Governor Lee saying that he needed to take a look at it. And he refused. Just flat out refused to even look at the case. So I'm just sitting here and my mind's going, but I always got Gary on my heart. I mean, my heart truly breaks for that man because I really believe, I wouldn't be sitting here saying I thought the man was innocent if I didn't. I've never even met the dude. I've never even talked to the man. He could be Jim Johnson out in California that I've never met in my life. But I've heard about his case, and there's so many things. I mean, I just scraped the surface. There's so many things about his case that were done wrong. And I believe with all my heart the man's innocent. But I'll get that information up to you guys. And I don't ask for nothing. I don't ever ask for anything. I always said in my YouTube I would never monetize. And I never will. I try to get a good message out about what God did for me to give God glory. But I'm asking you, when I get that information up, please write Governor Lee. Be respectful, but please write him. And please share it with anybody you think might write him and share the video just to get the word out. Because, like I said, in December, I believe with all my heart that they are going to kill an innocent man. And that should never happen in the United States of America. This man's already spent over 30 years of his life in prison. And I find it easier to believe that the man who's able to cut a woman's throat, that had a beef with one of the murder victims, committed that murder than Gary Wayne Sutton. And I'm putting that on my name on everything. I truly believe the man's innocent, or I wouldn't even be talking about it, because I've had a family member killed, and I know that the family of the two murder victims want justice in this case. But Gary Wayne Sutton was railroaded. And the state of Tennessee does not want to admit that they made a mistake and they have already killed an innocent man. But that's all I got to say about it. I'm going to get off here and do some thinking. But I love all of you. Y'all matter to me, and I appreciate all of you. I'm not some YouTube sensation or nothing, but I've made some wonderful friends on YouTube. I've met friends all over the world. A friend in Italy, great chef, and he's got a wolf. That's my spirit animal. Italian He changed the name. You guys can look at my subscriptions. I've met people in Portugal, John P. I've met people all over the world, Africa, um, France. You know, and what I've pretty much learned is pretty much for the most part, don't matter where people are from, we're all the same. We all just want to be loved and accepted, you know. At the end of the day, that's all people want, just to be loved and accepted. But I'm going to quit rambling now because the long videos don't get watched, and I do want this one to get out. If there's ever a video I wanted to get out, it's this one. And if you pray, please pray for him. And if you don't pray, put positive vibes out for the man. Look into the case yourself before you... I'm not asking you to just blindly get a hold of Governor Lee. Look into the case yourself. Listen to the evidence that says the man's innocent, and then do whatever your heart tells you to do, because I would never ask any one of you to do something that goes against your moral convictions. That would make me a pretty shitty friend, to ask a friend to go against their own moral beliefs. But once you look at the case, then you make up your mind what you feel is right and go from there. But I love all of you. Have a good night. I think me and Rosie need to go catch some wind and maybe get that front end up a little bit. Love you all. Peace out.